Again, welcome, and I'm going to start the presentation. Hopefully we don't get too much noise from the wind. Again, I'm Tim Arnson. I'm with the Port of Kennewick. I'd like to thank everybody for coming out to the grand opening of Vista Field. We have a number of speakers, folks that would like to say a few words, people that have helped us get to this point. But really, this event, you know, I've done a couple TV interviews already today and a radio interview, and they said, what is special about today? And I really had to think about it. And I think the special thing is that each and every one of you coming out, because for those of you people that live in the Port District, and we're a big district, we got a lot of you, you've helped pay for this. This is a public investment. You are owners. I think that's what's really special about today is I'm looking out at a bunch of people that are owners of this project. And really, really soon, when the elected officials cut the ribbon today, it's going to be open to the public, and you can do what I've been doing. I say police in the front row, I got to be careful, but I've been trespassing the last couple months. This is a really cool place to hang out. You got the creek, you got the trees. So if nothing else, do what I've been doing. Come out here and walk, and it's a great place to think and clear your head. And then you can kind of get the vision and see what's going to be coming next as we start to build out. So we have three port commissioners. We have Tom Moak in the front row. And we have Ken Hohenberg somewhere. Ken, where did you go? Oh, there he is, Ken Hohenberg. And many of you remember him as the police chief for, a couple decades here. And now that he's retired, we recruited him over at the port. And then now we have, I want to introduce the president of the Port Commission, Skip Novakovich, and Skip's going to offer a few words. Skip?
Wow, this is quite a crowd. You know, on behalf of the Commission and the staff of the Port of Kennewick, it's my honor to welcome you here to what I'm considering a very historic event. I want to thank you all for being here. Your presence just solidifies the fact that in this huge crowd that you have a high regard for what the Port of Kennewick does. And this redevelopment of Vista Field from an underutilized airfield to a new regional town center. And even though I'd like to spend a lot of time telling you how the Port of Kennewick listens to you, then uses what you tell us to create economic development opportunities that benefit our region as a whole, I need to be brief because we have a very full agenda. So at this time, what I'd like to do is recognize fellow elected people that are with us today. And as you already heard, we recognized commissioners from the Port of Kennewick, Commissioner Tom Oak, Commissioner Ken Hohenberg. And if you just hold your applause till I get through all this, we can save some time so we can move forward and you guys can enjoy more music and the food trucks. But from the Confederated Tribes, it's my great honor to introduce Catherine Brigham. And Donald Sampson, is Donald here somewhere, I think? Then State Representative Matt Binke. Ashley Stubbs, who's the Chief of Staff for Representative Dan Newhouse. Hi, Ashley. Benton County Commissioner Sean Small. Benton County Prosecutor Andy Miller. From the City of Kennewick, Mayor Pro Tem Gretel Crawford. Commissioners Chuck Torelli, Lauren Anderson, Jim Milbauer, and John Trumbo. From the City of Richland, Ryan Luxon. From the City of West Richland, Mayor Brent Gary. From the Port of Benton, Roy Keck and Christy Rasmussen. From the Port of Pasco, Gene Reichman and Vicki Gordon. And then my friends from the Port of Walla Walla, Ron Dunning and Mike Fredrickson, somewhere in the back. Welcome, guys. Thank you for being here. The Washington State Department of Commerce recognized the partnership between the Port of Kennewick and the City of Kennewick with the prestigious Governor Smart Community Smart Partnership Award for this development of Vista Field. And it's my pleasure to introduce a special guest joining us today from the Washington State Department of Commerce, Mark Barkley. Mark, thank you for being here. Mark's Assistant Director of Local Government at the Department of Commerce, and we welcome here today. In a moment, I'm going to ask you to join me in the Pledge of Allegiance, but first, I feel today that people have forgotten what the Pledge of Allegiance stands for and its true meaning. The Pledge of Allegiance is not a pledge to our government, but a pledge to our nation made up of we, the people. When you say the pledge, you're saying that all Americans are unified, standing together and working together for the benefit of this country as a whole. As today's political and cultural issues work to separate us, our flag and the Pledge of Allegiance serve to bind us together, united side by side as Americans. Remember that when we're saying the pledge, what we're really saying is that we're all in this together. We're living in a country where all Americans will be shown justice and liberty under the care of God, and together we'll not be divided or overcome. Now, if those of you who are seated would please rise, face the flag that's behind, and join me in saying the Pledge of Allegiance with new hope. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. And those of you who have chairs can be seated again. Today is a long-awaited celebration that began many years ago with community input and extensive planning. And it's a very special day for me for many reasons, but especially to reflect on what I'm most proud of. And I'd like to share some of those with you. I'm very proud and thankful for this community and all of you for your support, vision, and patience as the Port of Kennewick worked through a very difficult process that brings us to this point today. I'm proud of the contractors and individuals who helped shape this space, and I'm especially proud of the Commission at the Port of Kennewick, our partners at the City of Kennewick, and our never-ending support from Benton County for the community-driven Vista Field Master Plan. But without doubt, I'm most proud of the excellent staff at the Port of Kennewick for their perseverance and diligence in getting us here today. These people are among the finest I've ever been associated to work with, and I feel very honored to work with them. So at this time, could you please give them a well-deserved round of thankful applause? And then when you see them today, whether it's here or elsewhere, would you please give them your personal thanks for a job well done? They've done a tremendous job. I'm very proud of them, and I'm honored to be associated with them. Now, over the years, did we blow a speaker? Over the years, the Port of Kennewick's economic development successes have been established on building strategic, mutually beneficial partnerships. One of those that I'm extremely proud of is our partnership with the Confederated Tribes of the Umatilla Indian Reservation. We've had a formal MOU with the C2IR since 2013, but our friendship with them goes back even further than that. Right now, I'm very pleased that members of their board and executive team are here to join us today in this celebration, which, in case you didn't know, is actually taking place in their ceded territory. It's now my pleasure to introduce to you my very good friend and chair of the C2R Board of Trustees, Kat Brigham. Kat?
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. It's really good to see everybody here. And as Skip was talking about, we've had a working relationship for quite some time. And it's because we have a common view, a common approach, and we care. We care about the land, we care about you, and we care about what's going on in our community. And because of that relationship, we have not only signed the MOU, but we've worked with the Port of Kennewick prior to 2008. And so when they started coming and working with us about how they can improve the land, make the land look beautiful, and improve things, it was easy to say, yes, we'll work with you, because we care as well. As he said, this is our homeland. Welcome to our homeland. And when we signed our 1855 treaty, this land was ours, but you know what? We never really considered it ours because it was part of our culture, our history, and our future. And so that's why we work really hard to develop a partnership, collaboration approach in everything that we do, everywhere in our ceded area, our Aboriginal areas, to not only think about our history, but to think about our future. So partnership and collaboration is very important. Transparency is very important. Being respectful, professional is also very important. And that's what we have in working here in the city, with the city of Kennewick and the Port of Kennewick. Sorry, I've been in Cascade Locks for quite a while. But we, the Confederated Tribes of the Umatilla Indian Reservation, believe strongly in partnership and collaboration because we know we cannot do it alone. We know that it's going to take all of us to move forward on the things that we can work together on. And that's what we're working for, is that partnership, collaboration, and looking at the future. I'll tell you a really brief joke. And I'll tell it to you because I'll just be really frank. My mom was very prejudiced. And she and my dad were arguing about how she needs to get along with everybody in our community. And then my dad said, you know what? They may have come over in a boat, but there is not a boat big enough to take them all back. So my mom kind of finally, okay, I need to learn to get along. And so that is something that's always stuck in my head as well, is because all of us need to recognize we are humans. All of us need to recognize that we're not going anyplace. This is our area, and we need to work together to develop the common positions or solutions that we can all support. So I'm really pleased to be here, and I thank you for being here as well. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Kat. We really appreciate her leadership. I was thinking that my good friend Don Sampson would be here. Don is the executive of the tribe, but they had some important business, so we're going to let Don off the hook this time. They were going to have some board members here, but I just want to not repeat what Kat said, but there has been a very, very special relationship, friendship between the Port of Kennewick and the Confederated Tribes. We're probably going on 15, 16 years now. And it's one of the things that personally I've been involved with at the port. It's not building the lighthouse out on the island or the marina or even this. It's the friendship and the understanding and the partnership that we've built with our friends to the south, the Confederated Tribes. So, Kat, thank you, and hopefully you can pass our comments back on to your folks when you get back there. Want to talk a little bit about the Vista Field history, and I know it's kind of warm, and you've already heard a lot from me, and you're just saying, hey, how can we get him off the stage? Well, I'll talk real fast, so I won't be on here too long. Brief history of Vista Field. It was an area where the pilots taken off at the old Naval Air Station in Pasco during World War II, they'd come out here and they'd train. They'd put down steel planks, and the pilots would come in, and the planks were meant to simulate a deck for an aircraft carrier. And we still have some of the stuff out here. I want to show it to you guys as we develop this site. And you know how it was back then. The pilots, the young men, they made 2 or 3 landings here without crashing. And then the superior said, okay, you're ready to go. And these were the young men that went off to the Pacific, to the great aircraft carriers. So this does have some history, and we're cognizant of that. But we fast forward to where we're at now, and The airport has been closed since 2013. It was a small airport, not a whole lot of activity here, but those pilots that used it loved it. So we understand there's a lot of sentiment towards this place. What we want to do is we want to honor the history of Vista Field, but we want to move forward and convert this into a central place for our community, for people in Richland and West Richland and Kennewick and the whole area to use. And what we're going to do is build a new urbanism model, and that is something that is purposely different than what we've seen in a lot of places. It has small-scale streets. It kind of might remind you of some of the places you saw that were built out in the 1920s or 30s when our American cities, the great American cities, were a little bit more compressed. So it's going to be a place where you will feel comfortable walking, biking. You can even drive cars through here too, yeah. That we're also going to be transit oriented, so you don't have to own a car. Or if you do own a car, you can put it in the garage and you can use transit. We want to make it walkable, where there's enough reasons for you to be in this community that not only do you live here, but you can walk to the coffee shop. You can walk to the mom and pop businesses. We're going to be heavily emphasizing locally curated businesses. The big boxes, they like to go where the traffic counts are high, and that's fine. We're going to curate our own right here in Vista Field. It's going to be different. We're going to have plenty of parking, but we're not going to have the sea of parking. We're going to have a lot of the parking tucked behind some of the buildings. We're going to have civic spaces. We're going to have green spaces. We're going to have the water feature. It's overall, if I was going to describe it, there's two things that I really think are important. Is it's going to be a place that is welcoming to all people, everybody. And it's going to be a place that you and I would want to be. So I think if we keep those two things in mind, maybe that's how we're going to try to build out Vista Field. And again, it's built off of the community-driven master plan. We're following what the community told us that they wanted to see here. So I'm going to give a few more shout-outs here, and then I'm going to hand it off to a person who is a lot better looking than I am and a way better speaker. But first I'm going to do a couple shout-outs. Fire Chief Chad Michael. Chad's been very, very helpful in helping us with Vista Field, the narrow streets. He's wanting to make sure the fire trucks can get through there. So thank you, Chad, for helping us figure this out. Chief Chris Guerrero, the police chief, and we've already got Chris out here and walked the site with us. He loves it, and he's got some big shoes to fill with former Chief Hohenberg, but Chris can do it. He's a great guy. The other thing is we've got a lot of help from the Kennewick City staff members, Carrie Rowe, the whole group. I just don't want to name people because then I'm going to start to forget people, but and it starts at the top. Marie Mosley, city manager. Marie is the best city manager in the world. You can quote me on that. And we had to work with the city to change a lot of the zoning codes, a lot of the other things to make this thing work, and Marie championed that. But it all goes back uphill to the city council. The city council believed in us. They still do. And, you know, you heard Kat talk about partnerships. Well, we've got a great partnership with the city of Kennewick as well. And here's that person that I was alluding to, Mayor Pro Tem Gretel Crawford.
Hello. So I have some prepared remarks here from the city of Kennewick. And again, I am just a representative of the city of Kennewick. I am newly elected, and so I'm not going to take any responsibility for anything that you see here. This is an amazing collaboration between the city of Kennewick, mostly the port of Kennewick. Again, so many others, Benton County, and I'm going to mention those. But in my everyday job as a builder and designer, something like this is truly exciting. I feel like sometimes in the Tri-Cities, we are a little bit later to come along with things, and this is ahead of the game, and I'm excited to see, hopefully it'll turn into a great entertainment district for all of the region. This is a much anticipated day for everyone. It is truly exciting to celebrate with all of you the tremendous potential before us as Vista Fields opens for business. We are very proud that the city's partnership with the Port of Kennewick continues to build this community. As we have said before, and will continue to say, and it's already been said a lot today, but our partnerships and our community, it brings out what we each do best to the table and leverages individual strengths and resources for the betterment of our city and region. Economic development and the creation of sustainable family wage jobs continue to be one of Kennewick City Council's top priorities. Our efforts are directed at aspects that support this position to include building our excellence quality of life, creating a supportive climate for entrepreneurs and small businesses, recruiting target industries to complement our existing business base, and attracting a young professional workforce to support our growth and ingenuity. For over 10 years, we have worked on the vision for Vista Field, from supporting the closure of the airport for redevelopment and to creating the tools necessary to implement an urban mixed-use development. Our efforts have even garnered the attention of the state, as was mentioned earlier, when the Department of Commerce presented the Port of Kennewick and the City of Kennewick the Governor's Smart Communities Partnership Award for the redevelopments here at Vista Field. As with all major projects, substantial work goes into the planning, design, and installation of infrastructure. Some of our partnership milestones include master planning within the community, evaluating the development impacts, revising city codes to implement the community's vision of an urban, mixed-use, walkable community, evaluating infrastructure to provide flexible and safe options for transportation and utilities. Our police, fire, and planning departments have spent considerable time ensuring the new urbanism approach at Vista Fields will work and continue to maintain our life, health, and safety within our community. It is exciting to now celebrate the milestone of opening Vista Field, and the lots are available online, so you can take a look at pricing and lots, and I know that everyone's excited to see some activity. On behalf of the Kennewick City Council and the City of Kennewick, I congratulate the Port and all of our community partners and the community itself, because I know that there was a lot of individuals that came together to make this happen as well. Another exciting celebration that we have today that I want to make mention of is that we are having an open house. Chief Michaels is opening the doors for our brand new fire station number 3, and there are going to be a little JNS Dreamland Express will be providing trips to the fire station, and we'd like you to walk in. I'd also like to recognize the Kiwanis Club of the Horse Heaven Hills Foundation for bringing the JNS Dreamland Express for us so that we can all enjoy all that this new area in Vista Field has to offer. Thank you. And now Tim's back up.
Thank you, Gretel. We really appreciate the great working relationship that we have with the city. I want to talk about another partnership that's really important to us, partnership with Benton County. And I reminded Commissioner Small, who's going to be speaking next, that Benton County has hundreds of thousands of dollars invested in this site, and I guess I shouldn't have done that, sorry Sean, but anyways, we have Sean Small, who is the chairman of the county commission, and no, he knew how much they had invested, and they have been so helpful. So Sean, you want to come up and say a few words?
Thanks, sir. Well, howdy, howdy. Seems like everyone's just taking the thunder out of me here, but anyway, Cheyenne, I did take my sunglasses off. And anyway, so Cheyenne actually helps me do all kinds of things. She's an amazing partner that actually works for Benton County. And anyway, so they actually took a lot of our little footnotes that we were going to talk about today. So I'll just make this real short and sweet. So it's amazing how people come through here and all of a sudden you learn something new, you know. And I've actually never heard in my life, actually, this field was used for the military. You know, basically doing stop and goes, ready to prepare, and all of a sudden they say, yep, you're good to go. Here's the keys to the plane, take off. Ironically enough, for those who don't know, actually, we used to do EVOC just a little bit further over there in patrol cars. In fact, I was talking to Chief Homelberg about it, and we've seen all kinds of interesting things in patrol cars. Like some patrol cars actually get on 2 wheels when some of their tires are low. This is, you know, the late 80s, early 90s. And after we actually did a good job, they too actually gave us a set of keys and said, you know what, go serve and protect, and off we go. And but back to the seriousness of economic development, if people actually see or hear about jobs or structures being built, let alone opportunity, all that is actually economic development. And I tell you what, I know you hear a lot of people talk about economic development as far as the ports, these types of things. These guys are absolutely the machines that give so many individuals an opportunity to pursue careers and let alone actually help Benton County prosper. You take a look here at what all we have and basically what's going to bring here in the future. It's absolutely amazing, So Benton County, and by the way, Tim, thanks for taking a little bit of my thunder. Anyway, we've actually been able to deliver almost $15 million to all of our port partners since 2016, which, just so you know, it goes right back to the community where we're able to turn around, actually get jobs and open up opportunity. So I just wanted to tell you, thank you, the port, let alone all of our other partners that we have from the city of Kennewick and Richland. And if it wasn't for all of us, to include the people who make Benton County what it is, we wouldn't have none of this. So thank you all for all the good work that you guys do. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Commissioner Small. Appreciate the partnership. Now I want to recognize a team that kind of has a different role to play here. I'm going to talk about a few people that actually built this, right? You talk about, well, you didn't build that. Well, these guys did. This is the team from Total Site Services, a local contractor here. And as you know, with government work, we put things out to bid. They were the low bidder. And sometimes when you get the low bidder, you wonder about the quality. These folks came through with flying colors. Total Site Services. You see the infrastructure here. And I want to name some names, so we're going to give you a little bit more love. But, you sometimes can get upside down really fast on large construction projects, no matter how careful you are. But this team worked with my people, worked with the city, and I think everybody had a unified vision of we were going to get the job done, we're going to get it done right. Total Site Services, Lisa Chapman-Rosa, Landon Kafensis, Shannon Taranzo, Neil Wind, and Jessica Metzger. Round of applause, please, for the Total Site Services team. Now, Neil's over here. See, Neil's the big guy, and he was the foreman. And when we'd come out and have to talk about a few things, I'd sit there and I'd look at Neil and I'd say, Neil, if this all goes well, I'll buy you a beer after the project is completed. So that's how Neil and I sorted things out. I want to thank a couple of the people that have helped us, the engineering folks. We have parametrics, and I see Darren over here and his crew. They're out of the Portland area, and there was a ton of engineering work to do here. Also, we have a local guy, Gary Hall. Gary was part of the team. And we kind of blame Gary for the water feature because one day I was in my office and I talked to Gary about how we'd like to have a water feature in Vista Field. He ended up knowing the people out of Southern California that do these things. So you can blame Gary for the water feature. I do think it's one of the coolest things that the port's done. So Gary, thanks for that lead as well. We also have a gentleman, David Robinson. He's helped the city of Kennewick with some of the fire department stuff. He's a construction manager. He helped us out here. So those are the folks that really built this thing. I want to thank my port team because, those of you folks that know, whether it's family or if you have a business, you have employees, you try to pick the people around you. I guess you can't do it with families, but you try to pick good people around you, and I've done that. I think maybe by luck or however, but I've got some really great people and I want to give them a shout out. First is Nick Quaker. He's our CFO, and Nick is one of those that will look at every, when you bring a receipt in for a cup of coffee, he's going to scrutinize that. But Nick was able to get us a raging deal on a $5 million loan to put in this infrastructure, low interest loan, and again, saving you taxpayers money. So Nick, thank you for that. Larry Peterson is our planner. He's kind of the mad scientist, the mastermind behind this. He worked with the public and the architectural planning firm out of Miami, DPZ. They're world-class talent. Larry was able to work with them and bring to fruition what the public wanted, so Larry, thank you. Got to talk about our maintenance people. The site looks pretty good today. It really does. But I came out here like in February, and you know how things go here in the winter. Tumbleweeds and dust and all sorts of stuff, weeds. The maintenance team is the best in the business. There's 103 acres here. They've got it under control. They've got it looking great. We have hundreds of acres more that they're responsible for. Mike Binky, Mike Melia, and Anthony Alicio. Want to thank Amber Hanshay. She is over here. And for those of you, Gretel, builders, developers, go meet Amber, because after today we can say we're open for business and we're ready to take proposals. So Amber is our real estate person. She's going to be really important to us. I want to thank my other team members, Bridget Scott, Tammy Story, Jennifer Roach, Candy Yates, Lisa Shoemaker, and there's one in particular, Tana Bader in Glima, who was the mastermind of today's event. So a little bit of applause for my people. Thank you. And one other person that I got to mention that's not one of my employees, he's just some guy that we met along the way, my wife and I, a few years ago, Sammy Hudson. Sammy, where? Sammy's over there, look at him. Okay, Sammy was the guy that helped us get Mr. Waite here. He helped set up the stage. He did all of this stuff for us. And he comes from a good background in this. He's the bass player for a group called Creed. Probably heard of them. But more famously than that, Sammy owns a place up in Zilla called The Warehouse. And it's a bar, restaurant. My wife stopped there. He's got the best prime rib between Kennewick and Seattle. Sammy, thank you for your help today. Now, this is the part of the program where it kind of is a shift for me. I'm going to tell you that the electeds are going to come forward up here to the sign. We're going to do the unveiling. So we'd like to have representatives from the tribe, the city, county, and the port, please. And VSK, what does that mean? Well, Tana reminds me that that was the call sign for Vista Field. That's what the pilots would call to identify they're coming into Vista Field. So that's symbolic. And underneath that will be just some of the materials that, will kind of show what we're going to do as we transition. So this will be a little bit of a transition from the airfield and to the new rebirth of Vista Field, if you will. So if we could have the electeds come up, and then Tana, again, she's the mastermind of this. She gave me some notes. She said, please make sure that you pause long enough for photos, because we all know elected officials like to have their picture taken, right? So here we go. They're going to unveil this. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Thank you. And now we're going to have the electeds go over to the cars over here, and they're going to do a symbolic drive-through to open the streets. So I think we've got Skip, and Skip's got the candy red Challenger. Oh, they're still taking pictures. And then we've got Kat in a vehicle, and I think the Mayor Pro Tem actually gets to go into the police car. Okay, so now here's the really important stuff. While the cars are driving, you look in your programs, and you got some tickets in there for the food vendors. So you can go around and sample some of the foods. We have Culture Shock, we have Ann's Best Creole, Taste of Wok, Rollin' Ice Cream, and then over here they have the little trailer. He's going to take some pictures, snappy camper photos. We have some mats that you can sign, and we're going to hang on to those so years down the road you can remember you were here. The J&S Dreamland Express will take you over that way to do tours of Chief Michael's Fire Station. And then as we start to wind down, we have another band, American Honey. They're a regional band. They're going to be playing today, so just feel free to mingle. But remember now, we've got to stay out of the way for the electeds to drive the cars through. But what I want to do is I want to thank you all for putting up with me. I want to thank you all for coming out and supporting us at this event. I want to thank my employees. I want to thank my wife and my family for supporting me through all this. And again, folks, thank you very much. Please give yourself a round of applause.
I'll take whoever next. Are you settled? Gotcha.